Hi, welcome to episode 1 of my Forrest Gump Life. I'm Kerry Crafton. I've been a recording engineer and producer for 48 years or so, and I've had the opportunity through several Forrest Gump moments in my life to meet some cool people and have some great experiences. Here's one of those stories. Hey there, I'm going to start a series. A lot of people ask me, not a lot, but a few, have asked me about just kind of rock and roll stories over the years and meeting different people and stuff. And I kind of realized I call this my Forrest Gump life because that's kind of how I feel about it. I've been in position to meet a lot of cool people and to have some great experiences. Most of them are kind of interesting, so I'm going to tell a series of these stories. And we'll see if they're interesting or not. So this is kind of the first one I'm gonna tell. Now this is also kind of appropriate because the first kind of celebrity I ever met was this person, and this is the Rocky Erickson story. So back when I was in college, I was asked to join a band that was called F Systems. And we kind of got together without going into laborious details there. We only had 3 or 4 practices before our first gig. And our first gig was the night that they filmed the big concert scene for the movie Roadie, starring Meatloaf, the singer, actor, and a bunch of other bands and stuff. So we're playing the night after they have been shooting that day. And so we get there to play, and this Raoul's is absolutely packed, at least as I remember it. I'm going to tell these from my point of view. I'm not going to try to fudge anything, but everybody has to see something different. But it was pretty packed. And we got up on stage and ready to play, and I had not played guitar for several months probably before I joined them. So, man, I was nervous. Every muscle was cramped up. There were guys from Blondie in the crowd. I don't even know who all was there that night. I used to remember more of the names. The people said XTC, some guys from XTC were there. And the place was packed, and we knew they were there. And we got up on stage and started playing. And again, I was just bearing down real hard and gripping real hard. And all of a sudden, about halfway through the set, my hand started cramping really bad along the bottom of that thumb right there. And so I was putting my elbow against the guitar and pushing the guitar neck out against my hand to help hold it, and just struggling to get through the set. A couple of times I made them pause between just for a second so I could shake my hand and get the cramp loose for a second. And so we played there that night, and I don't remember too much really about it except just the overall scene. But the cool thing was, and here comes the first Forrest Gump moment. I came off stage, and literally the first person that came up to me right as I came off stage was Rocky Erickson. Now, if you were anywhere from Austin or Texas, I'm sure you should know who Rocky Erickson is. He was one of the first he was a real innovator in the psychedelic rock in the late 60s and all that. Had been put away in the state hospital for 3 or 4 years, I think it was, because he was caught with possession of pot. And he made a plea deal with him to go there instead of going to jail. So I came off the stage, and there's Rocky coming up to me, man. He comes up to me and grabs my hand, shakes his hand, just saying, I don't know, he was saying he really liked the set and all this. The one that stuck with me, because it's a ridiculous thing he said, man, you're the best guitarist I've heard down here. Now, obviously, he had not had a great range of guitarists he had heard, because I'm far from a great guitarist. But from Rocky Erickson, I was floored. I mean, I was like, wow, I had never met him before. I never even got to hear the 13th floor elevators. Had seen him on American Bandstand and heard him on the radio a lot, but had never actually, seen them play live. I was just a hair young at their peak. And I couldn't believe it. Rocky came up and said that. Now, again, I'm not a great guitar player, never been a great guitar player. Sometimes I can muddle through and make average. But that was really to meet Rocky, I was floored, especially that night. It was just a night full of stars in the room, and then had Rocky Erickson, who I'd always admired the 13th floor elevators and loved the band, to come up to me. Now, the continuation kind of that story came about 4 or 5 years later, I guess, when Rocky came in with a couple of friends and did what Rocky Erickson and Evil Hook Wildlife is what what the name of the project was. And we did a long kind of blues thing that has like 2 verses and 2 choruses and a lot of playing. And they asked me to do the guitar on it. Now, we had recorded Rocky singing and him playing the guitar, but at that point he really wasn't, he was worse than me, that's telling you. He really wasn't real capable of pulling that off, so they had me play the guitar on that. It's credited and everything. It wasn't sneaky. And that really is one of the only kind of solos, lead guitar things I've ever done. So the song is called The Beast. You can find it on YouTube, Beast Rocky Erickson with Evil Hook Wildlife. And so that was pretty cool. Again, we just happened to be in the right place at the right time, kind of like Forrest. I was sitting there minding my own business, and along came Rocky Erickson. And again, at that point, Rocky's a legend, especially still, especially in Austin is what I mean to say. And that was just a pretty cool first gig. I played with them for about a year before musical and personal differences came along, like they always do at some point. Now, luckily, we've gotten over that. And actually, I'm going to be playing November 9th of 2025 in Austin with various members of F Systems that are able to be there. Neil Ruttenberg, Dick Ross, Lisa Gamache is going to sing. Andre Sanduhar, who was our keyboardist, is going to join us. And who knows, one of the other guitar playing F Systems X guys might show up or something. That'd be cool. I've had a whole series of these kind of things where I'm just along minding my own business and run into some pretty cool things. And not a big, deep story behind that, but that's how I met Rocky Erickson on my first gig with this band. And then, again, 4 or 5 years later, got to actually record with him and put out a song. So that was pretty cool. I love Rocky. So that's kind of that story. And I'm going to come up with some others and film them or video them, and I'll put them up randomly here and there as I have time and think about a good one. There's quite a few to go through. But anyway, that's enough for this episode. I hope you will subscribe or something when I get this up. I'm going to put this on YouTube and new to it, so we'll see how it goes. So thank you for listening this far. Listen back. Hopefully we'll get better at doing this. So check with me again, okay? Thanks. Please check out my latest project, Crushing by Creeper, produced by myself and Sterling Winfield. It will tickle your ear holes. Check, check. I guess we're recording. Welcome to episode 1 of my Forrest Gump life. This is Kerry Crafton. I'm an almost, maybe, kind of quite, but never really made it to semi-legendary almost recording engineer and producer. But I've had the pleasure of being in this industry for 50 years.